And it's a lot about that TV show, man, that got people confused. Because I live with my grandma. You know, we'll go to the house on like a weekend. They'll say, hey, we shooting today. We need y'all at the house. They'll come get me from my grandma's house. And right after we done, when them cameras go off, I'm right back to my grandma's house.
For a while, it became easy. Like, I'm a person who is kind of like numb in a situation. That's why I'm saying I'm not in tune with my feelings. Like, even me saying my mom, she was on the road and stuff, like, I became numb with being at my grandma's house. And it's just like, this is what it is. So after a while of me being hurt and like, oh, I want my family and I want this to work out. It's like, even with my mom and my dad, I learned at a young age, everything don't work out. It doesn't have to go as planned.
So my dad went on a podcast and told the world about my virginity. I'm still pretty upset with him about it. I'm not gonna be able to like really get through to him, like connect for real, how I need to.
But then you need to try too, though.
He always plays victim, honestly. So like,
Are you angry?
I just don't really care to be around him right now. I'll be a better parent. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad parent.
No,
I'm not
we get
saying,
it. We get it.
but I'm just saying, like, when it comes to stuff like this, like, I'm just gonna be more connected mentally, emotionally, all of that, so.
Y'all, it looks like T.I. and Tiny's kids are always up to something, and it ain't slowing down no time soon. Now these kids are growing up and they are blaming their parents because of how they turned out. Tiny's daughter Zani was basically outside all the time and ended up by the age of 24 becoming an unwed baby mama number 3 to a man with 3 kids by 2 other women. And let's not get started on King Harris, because that man-child is a menace to society. And on top of all of that, this 20-year-old who ain't even equipped to tie his own shoe is now expecting a baby. Now it looks like T.I. and Tiny were never really there for those kids and threw them into situations that they had no business being in.
For those who don't understand, Tip had some infidelities with a girl who I hired, and that girl is one of the reasons why I got my own house.
Now, the relationship between T.I. and Tiny is one for the books. They have literally been through every trial and tribulation that a couple could basically go through, and they are still together after almost 2 decades. But child, ain't no one calling them couple goals because they are very problematic. T.I. is a certified hit maker and very respected in the rap community. And yeah, women were all over him and T.I. never said no. But it wasn't just about stepping out of his relationship with these women. He had them on his arm and was so very confident being seen around town with them, knowing that he's in a very high profile marriage where there are children who are also in the picture. While Tiny was at home ready to pop with their second child, T.I. was allegedly going to nightclubs with Favor of Love season 1 winner Nikki Hoops. The video vixen who saw them claimed that T.I. and Hoops were very cozy with each other, and it started to get a little freaky when Hoops started flirting with her. When they were ready to leave, T.I. allegedly approached the vixen and asked her to follow them back to his crib to have some three-way fun. This happened back in 2006, and Tiny had a stillbirth, and folks were certain that all of the stress from his constant cheating, when he should have been by her side, affected her and ultimately their unborn baby. Tiny stuck by her man though, and she not only allowed him to do what he wanted, she also joined him in that lifestyle as well. T.I. and Tiny were always having other women over to the house, joining in on orgies, and they would allegedly host these parties where everyone had to do Molly or nose candy. According to several reports, these orgies were really with D-rated IG baddies and even a couple of celebrities here and there who were down for the action.
T.I. Hot.
He is
One time he and Tiny invited me over for dinner.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did.
Oh. I was quite flattered.
They were like,
why didn't you
guess
go?
what's for dinner, you bitch?
But when you do things like this behind closed doors, something is always bound to come out or go wrong. T.I. and Tiny were allegedly paying some of these girls involved when things got out of hand as a way to keep their mouths shut. But their quote-unquote friend or business partner, Sabrina Peterson, blew their whole situation up.
Your husband put a gun to my head after me looking out for you on several occasions. You are the battered woman. You're the woman that's always somewhere crying. You're the one that's always being cheated on. You're the one, but you the one that wants to go run to your friends and tell them what he did wrong in X, Y, and Z. And I was so young, I did not know. I didn't know to not listen to a woman when she's going crazy and crying about her relationship. The only thing I knew is that my friend was going through X, Y, and Z, and I jumped the like the dumbass I was. But the facts do remain the same. And if so I've let this go because it's so freaking old. This is so old, but this is a part of my trauma. This is a part of my truth. This is so old that he went on to make songs about it and so forth and so on. That same silver gun that was on the table when he was arrested, that one silver revolver with the long nose on it was the gun that he put to my head, screaming, "Bitch, I'll kill you, bitch, I'll kill you." So my PSA today is about me speaking about my past trauma, what I went through. That's my truth. That is my truth. Your daughter was there to witness it. His sister Precious, rest in peace, was there to witness it. And many other children.
Rob Kardashian even said the same thing about his baby mama China having three-ways with T.I. and Tiny. But what really got the people talking was her claiming that the couple had victimized several women and forced them to do substances and get freaky with them. And if T.I. was enjoying himself with one of these women a little too much, Tiny would get jealous and beat these women black and blue while T.I. watched. And if the women tried to retaliate or at least defend themselves, T.I. would hold them wide open for Tiny to do her thing. And Sabrina wasn't just revealing this for the heck of it. Oh no, she came with multiple receipts from women telling how they were treated at T.I. and Tiny's house. And on top of all of that, 12 women sued the couple for SA and for lacing them with substances at parties. Child, I know they've been together for a long time, but it looks like the two of them may have just trauma bonded because the things they've been through together are crazy. When T.I. had to do his stint in prison trying to buy 3 machine guns, whatever for, I have no idea. But Tiny had to hold him down for the family, and she made sure that their kids and family were well taken care of. But by the time he came out of the joint, the two of them were back to their old ways in some very messy drama. T.I. and Tiny were locked up in West Hollywood after ecstasy was found in their car. Tiny claimed that it was hers, but when the feds did a test on T.I., he didn't pass, and he was sent right back to jail for another 11 months for violating the requirements of his probation. When he finally came out, he was ready to get back to being the head of his family and making all of the decisions like he used to, but Tiny was not the same woman he left.
Found my own voice. He was used to saying, okay, no, we're doing this, we're moving this way, and I'd be like, oh, okay. But when he came home, he'd say, we're moving this way, and I'd be like, well, no, I got this to do, and he's like, well, that's not the way. You know, it wasn't what he was used to. He was used to controlling things.
Wait a minute.
And, having things his way at all times. But once I got on my own 2 feet, I felt like I should have a voice too. Yeah. And that voice, it was a little different from what he was used to. Right. So that, to me, is what caused the issue. Wasn't because I'm just being outlandishly disrespectful, because if you recall, you could not move, you could not go anywhere. I was still in the house, like I was on probation, doing all the things. But because I had a voice that was not so timid, like to me, This is my outlook. This is my outlook on it.
Oh no, she had evolved, and she had finally found her voice because she had to step up. And baby T.I. did not like that at all. They started having issues, and instead of fixing them, T.I. was diving headfirst into some new honey walls, baby. He got with Bernice Burgos and was allegedly messing with some members of T.I.'s girl group, French Kiss, which ultimately led to the group being disbanded. Now let's be clear here. Tiny has had her own rotation of both men and women, and of course hers was more low-key than T.I.'s, because you know he cannot take half of the things that he dishes out in their relationship. The one time he thought she was spreading her legs for a man, Floyd Mayweather showed up in Vegas like an angry bird and started tearing stuff up, child. And them kids had to watch all of this foolishness go down. T.I. and Tiny were so up in each other's lives that they never really had time for the kids. I mean, their own drama was enough to keep them more than occupied. And yeah, T.I. and Tiny gave their kids a good life and could afford more than most. But money ain't everything when it comes to being a good parent. The kids were always at their grandparents', and while the two of them were out there doing their own thing, T.I.'s sister Precious, who passed away in 2019, was basically Major's other mom, and she always had those kids. That was the stability they knew. Now, nobody's saying that T.I. and Tiny abandoned their kids, but they definitely neglected them in some aspects in favor of the people and extracurricular activities they had going on in their lives.
I was outside, y'all. I swear I was always outside as a kid. Why? Because when you got parents who, you know, do in the industry, you know how y'all try to make it seem like, oh, you know, celebrity kids, they just got the best lifestyle. My parents, I ain't never seen them. My parents, I ain't never seen them. I ain't never seen my parents. I ain't never seen my parents. Let's just call it out. Like, let's just call it what it is. Like, these folks busy. They busy. And now that I'm older, I don't even, you know, I don't care about that.
Even King Harris's entire hood persona comes out of him growing up with his grandmother, and he has always been pretty vocal about his parents abandoning him in his eyes.
He know that. Hey, no told it. He capping. He capping.
Hey.
He know I stand on business. He know that. Hey, no ever pull my car ever in life. I stand on business. You drop me somewhere, I stand on business. You drop me in your hood, I stand on business.
I don't feel like you stand on business.
Yeah. I've been stood on business. I've been stood on business. You want to hide it for the world, I'm going to put it out there for them to see. I want to put up nowhere. You ain't had me put up nowhere. Like, you ain't had me behind a mansion. I was outside doing what I wanted to do.
And folks do have something to say about how T.I. and Tiny have been parenting their children. Quote, T.I. is a terrible dad, but Tiny is also a terrible mom and horrible stepmom as well. They are a bad parent dynamic duo, end quote. Quote, T.I. and Tiny and real black love shouldn't even be in the same sentence. End quote. And another quote, I knew that show was fake. You could tell they wasn't really around each other that much. Daughter always looked real uncomfortable around all of them. End quote. But do y'all think T.I. and Tiny's kids are tripping about their parents neglecting them, or are they right to speak out? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't you dare click off before you like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye, baddies.